In Seatrekking, you use your own body and as little equipment as possible to focus on one of our planet's major natural wonders, the ocean. Just like mountaineers dedicate themselves to the mountain, we try to get closer to the ocean and move in it as perfectly as we can. That's the aim, to glide through the sea much like seals or dolphins do.
Durch diese Bewegung in diesem Raum.
The motion in this space makes you feel like you were flying.
Einfach als ob man fliegen würde. Und dieses
And this feeling of flowing and flying runs through your whole body.
Und Fliegen durchströmt den ganzen Körper.
Bernhard Wache couldn't find an outdoor sport that was right for him, so he quite simply invented his own, Seatrekking. The Seatrekkers explore a coastline by swimming, hiking and diving.
Meine ersten Touren habe ich vor 20 Jahren.
I started on my first tours 20 years ago, but I had no experience at all and no idea where it would take me. I just wanted to discover this element, the ocean, without a boat or complex technological aids for myself, like mountain climbers out to discover a mountain for themselves.
So war es für mich der Ozean.
For the past 2 years, this native of Munich has been giving workshops on his new sport. This one's in Croatia.
Seatrekking kann man eigentlich überall machen.
You can go seatrekking pretty much anywhere. Of course, we head to wild coastal regions because they're such an incredible gift and experience of nature. Lonely islands where no one else ever goes. You spend the night in the jungle, and the next day, you dive right back into the coral reefs.
It can take several days to cover a set route or trail. Seatrekkers sleep on isolated beaches in the open air, no matter what the weather. But the right equipment is essential.
You need 3 things: a good place to sleep, hygiene, and food and drink. And a place to sleep needs protection from the sun and rain. So we need sleeping pads, sleeping bags, and a tarp. That's a very lightweight cover you can stretch out to keep off the sun and rain. We take the same equipment whether we spend 3, 4, 5, or 6 days on the trail. But at some point, food gets to be a problem. You have to cut back. And finding water is a vital part of any trail. You have to make sure you can get to it.
Everything is stowed in a bag Bernhard Wache developed especially for Seatrekking. It's a waterproof kit bag and a backpack in one. The trekkers tow it in the water with an elastic rope that allows them to dive as deep as 20 meters. Once on land, the trekkers simply strap on the backpacks. They hold up to 70 liters of equipment. Blowing them up slightly gives them a streamlined shape with a little drag, so they can be towed along in the water without much effort. Seatrekkers also need diving equipment, of course.
We move with carbon fins. They're very good for free diving. But when you have to cover great distances, they're not optimal at the surface where a swimmer would be. So we move a bit like marine mammals. We get into a flow just beneath the surface, maybe only 40 to 60 centimeters down. And we move ahead 5 or 6 seconds, and then come up for air, and then go back down under. And that's where these fins put out their maximum thrust. So if you're in good condition and you've mastered the technique, you can make up to 2 or 3 kilometers per hour.
Die Technik beherrscht bis zu 2 bis 3 Kilometer in der Stunde.
Anyone who wishes to give Seatrekking a try needs a little diving experience and lots of love for natural wilds, even at night or in bad weather. Plus, the sport isn't without risk.
When you start out Seatrekking, you should definitely check the weather carefully and pick calm days. I didn't used to read the forecasts carefully or learn about them. But let's say you might be in the Andaman Sea, for instance,
Und dann gibt es halt eine Strömung, die
And you run into a current you hadn't anticipated.
so dir nicht vorstellen hast können. Und dann
And
bist
suddenly,
du halt irgendwann
you're
mal
10 kilometers away from the nearest land.
weg von der nächsten Landmasse. Und nur durch Glück hat sich dann
In my case, it was sheer luck that the current turned again, and I got back to the trail.
ja,
Luckily, I'm still here.
oder ich bin noch da. Also
But
so
things like that can happen very quickly out there.
ganz schnell auch.
Bernhard Wache goes sea trekking 2 to 3 months every year. The rest of the time, he's a freelance artist and exhibition organizer. He keeps testing his limits, even sleeping on an air mattress on the ocean.
Für mich persönlich ist der Ozean
To me personally,
absolute Unendlichkeit.
the ocean is
Bezug auf
sheer
Weite.
boundlessness
Es
in
ist
terms
ein
of
Raum,
breadth and
den wird
depth.
man niemals erobern.
It's a
Und
space you
genau
can never
diese-
conquer.
Diese Unfassbarkeit,
And it's this
zieht mich
incomprehensibility
immer wieder
that
dort
draws
raus.
me out
Das
there
ist eine
again
absolute
and again.
Freiheit. Du
It's absolute freedom.
kannst dich dort
You can
einfach
thoroughly lose yourself out there.
komplett verlieren, tatsächlich.